The outside of the Iroquois Park Sports Centre in Whitby plays host to the Ontario Lacrosse Festival and also game number 4 of this Major Series Lacrosse semi-final matchup between the Peterborough Lakers and the Brooklin Lacrosse Club. Welcome inside the broadcast booth. Jack Moore alongside Andrew Osmond. Welcome back, Andrew. We missed you in game number 2. The Brooklin Lacrosse Club looking to get their first victory of the series. If Peterborough wins tonight, they move on to the Major Series Lacrosse Championship Series against either one of Six Nations or Cobourg. But really in that game 3, it was the Peterborough Lakers dominating from the beginning. Yeah, they obviously dominated the first 2 games, taking games 1 and 2 rather easily, and then it was pretty quick off the hop. You see it there, 4-0. There's the 5th goal, 5 unanswered goals to begin the first period for Peterborough, but then it was a couple power play goals for Brooklyn to get on the board at the end of that first period to finish it at a 5-2 score, but ending that game at 16-7 as the final score. Over more than double the goals Peterborough had over Brooklyn. It was kind of hard to come back from that 5-0 deficit to start the game, go into period number 2, 5-2, and Peterborough didn't let up. Brooklyn only able to get back-to-back goals twice more in that game, and so hard for them to kind of get any kind of victory to come back if they're only able to get back-to-back goals only a handful of times when Peterborough just keeps adding on the offensive pressure. Well, and we talked about during game 2 with Scott Arnold from Your TV Peterborough, who filled in for you during game number 2, the embarrassment of riches that Peterborough has offensively on this team, and they scored 12 in game 1, 14 in game 2, 16 in game number 3. They come into game 4 with a lot of confidence. After game number 3, that's when the story and the news about this series really took it into a high gear when Jason Crosby, the head coach of the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club, was asked by the Peterborough Examiner his thoughts on the game and the series so far, and mentioned how he felt that this is becoming a 2-tiered league, how they have Six Nations and Peterborough at the top, teams who traditionally and very well publicly have paid their players, and then that leaves Brooklyn, Cobourg, and Brampton at the bottom, and it's taking away the competitive balance is the point that Jason Crosby is trying to make with his comments after game number 3. Yeah, and we were talking to him pregame today too, and he kind of, talked back these comments, but reiterated these comments that you see here on your screen, just kind of saying, well, I have a handful of NLL guys compared to the other team on the other side of the floor, as well as say Six Nations in the league as well, but also acknowledges that that maybe is just the way the league is shaped up to be and the way it's formatted. There's nothing really to present itself as a different kind of format. If you're the team that can have those guys, then congrats on that and being able to recruit those kind of guys and have them on your MSL roster for this season. So those comments there made by Jason Crosby, but he also, as I said, he kind of says, well, that's the way the MSL is set up and that's the way the league is structured, so we move on and we play on as is. And part of his point is, do they want that to be the competitive nature of the league? Are they fine with having just 2 teams compete at the top and then everybody else at the bottom? Is that how they want to go, or do they want to change things up a little bit and have a little bit more of a competitive balance across the league? Before we get to the opening face-off, let's take it down to the floor and our national anthem. So we get you set for game number 4 of this Major Series Lacrosse matchup between Peterborough and Brooklyn. Let's take a look at tonight's starting goaltenders, Andrew. And starting for Peterborough, it's going to be Drew Hutchinson getting the nod tonight. He started in one of the previous 3 games
and he's going to get the start here in Game 4. Obviously had a win in that last outing. It was a 52 save win his last time out here in the semifinal round in the MSL. On the other end of the floor, it's the starting goaltender getting back in the net. It's Riley Hutchcraft. Caleb Martin started game number 3, but in game number 4, it's going to be Riley Hutchcraft getting the nod here for Brooklyn, a guy who's seen plenty of minutes and plenty of hours and minutes against this Peterborough team. He's no stranger to this offense on the floor here tonight.
Matt Gilray getting set at center against Mike Byrne, and we're underway for game number 4. Peterborough with a 3-0 series lead, and that exclamation point 16-7 win in game number 3 at the Peterborough Memorial Center on Sunday. Jack Travassos scoops up the loose ball and is pinned to the boards on the opening possession of the game. Games 1 and 2 saw Brooklyn score first in the opening minute of the game, but then Peterborough go on a run to start to take control, and then game 3, it was that 5-0 run in the first 12 minutes of the game that really put Peterborough in the driver's seat. Matt Gilray had possession in his own end, and Brooklyn will take over offensively as Connor Kiernan steps off the bench, and Brooklyn's offense can go to work for the first time here tonight. Liam Osborne off to Brady Kiernan. Back to Connor. Connor Kiernan, he shoots. That one misses the net. Luke Pilcher steps into the net. That one gets stopped by Drew Hutchinson.
Great pickup there by Pilcher to find the loose ball off the boards and have that lane to the net. Hutchinson just getting the better of him there here early on.
Jacob Saunders with an interception on the Alex Pace pass as he stepped to the offensive end of the floor. So the defender and transition player for Peterborough getting caught up, and penalty coming up to Peterborough here. So Riley Hutchcraft off to the Brooklyn bench. So 6-on-5 here for Brooklyn as a battle ensues in front of the net. Tanner Cook picks up. Cook tried to go off for Brady Kiernan. That one gets picked off by Mitch Ogilvie, and we will see Brooklyn go to the first power play of the game. And we're just a minute 31 seconds in as Austin Hazen heads to the penalty box.
And it's a start you're looking for if you're Brooklyn. You play them rather physically in the corner. You get a turnover, get the ball, have a decent chance on net with Luke Pilcher, cause a turnover, go up the floor the other way, and then draw a penalty. Still 0 on the board after a minute and a half into this game, but you got yourself a power play pretty quick.
Brooklyn started game number 2 0 for 5 on the power play before they were able to get things going in that 14-12 loss. Luke Pilcher fires the shot. That was the closest game in terms of the score. Brooklyn gets the offensive rebound and a shot clock reset. I have to feel good about the energy they've started this game out with, trying to get Peterborough to play on their heels in what could be a series-ending game. Waters works that one off. Liam Osborne has that one go out of play, and it did get deflected by a Lakers, so that is going to be Brooklyn ball with a fresh shot clock. Still a minute 24 on the power play here. Kyle Waters up top. That one gets blocked as well. Peterborough's defense, which was swarming in each of the first 3 games, getting in the shooting lanes. Kyle Waters off to Tanner Cook, now cross floor. That one gets stopped by Hutchinson, and Peterborough takes over possession. Chad Tutton quickly up the floor for the Lakers as he'll slow things down and wait for Holden Katoni off the bench. Tutton still with possession, just fine to work this shot clock down. 15 to shoot for the Lakers as Holden Katoni over the top. That one gets blocked in front. 6 goals, 6 assists in the first 3 games of this series for Holden Katoni. As a chance the other way, Jake Stevens works this one back. That shot was stopped by Drew Hutchinson. Keenan Cook was looking for a chance, and now away goes Mitch Ogilvie in transition. Now a penalty coming up against Brooklyn, so Peterborough will have possession here. Penalty clock and shot clock about the same. So if Peterborough just works this down to 0, they will get a full 2-minute power play. 10 seconds to shoot for the Lakers. Delayed penalty coming up against Brooklyn. Milligan up top, works that one off to the corner, out of the reach of Turner Evans. And right as the penalty was about to expire, Brooklyn touches up. And so in 1 second, Peterborough will go to their first power play of the game. Brooklyn starts this one 0 for 1 on the man advantage.
Yeah, 0 for 1, and kind of a call that has to be called with too many guys on the floor and guys leaving the bench way too early. As we take a look at that save there, and then going up the floor, you won't see him, but nobody's coming off, and there's a guy that comes off on the floor on your left side of the screen. You'll see him there, the Brooklyn player wearing red there, came on before any Brooklyn player was close to coming off of the floor.
So Holden Catoni up top just misses the net. He's got a cannon of a shot. So it's Lucas Littlejohn serving the penalty for Brooklyn, and Peterborough on the man advantage. 7 seconds to shoot for the Lakers. Courier's shot gets deflected wide, picks up the loose ball, fires it cross court. Turner Evans gets stopped by Riley Hutchcraft, and the rebound gets picked up by Brooklyn.
And Peterborough averaging just under 4 power play goals a game in this series in those first 3 games, having 11 of them, and have a number of shorthanded goals as well. So they do their damage on special teams.
Liam Osborne trying to get something with 10 to shoot. Good defense there by Jordan Sturris. Tanner Cook, 3 to shoot, just fires it off a defender. It goes out of play off Peterborough, so Brooklyn will get the ball. Just 1 second, a fresh 30-second shot clock here for Brooklyn. So Tanner Cook just trying to throw that one away. It's a full possession shorthanded here for Brooklyn. And Cook has it on the near side.
And Brooklyn has 4 shorthanded goals this series, so.
Connor Kiernan working against Alex Pace, forced to the corner. 10 to shoot for Brooklyn as 3 changes happening, trying to get their defenders on the floor as Connor Kiernan continues to hold with 2 to shoot. Gets a shot up, and Hutchinson makes the save. Peterborough takes over, but good job taking that clock down to 0 for Brooklyn and trying to kill off as much time on this power play as possible.
Just like that, they're down to 15 seconds.
Courier gets this one back and works it up top for Catoni. Now pass into the middle. That one gets stopped by Hutchcraft as Eli McLaughlin was right there on the doorstep. Brooklyn will take over, and this will all but do it for the Peterborough power play as Mike Byrne over center, and both teams start this game 0 for 1 on the man advantage as we're back to 5-on-5. Lucas Littlejohn stays on the floor offensively for Brooklyn. That shot misses the net as Stevens picks up his own rebound, gets taken down to the floor by Colton Armstrong, who knocks it loose, and Chad Tutton's away in transition. Now Matisse fires a shot. That gets blocked in front. Tutton on to Ogilvie, who slows things down. Still 20 to shoot for the Lakers as they get their offensive players on the floor. Matisse works this one back for Catoni. Tate Catoni trying to step away from Kyle Waters. That one gets knocked into the corner, and Jake Stevens battling for it. Tate Catoni with a fresh shot clock. Work this one back for Milligan. Hogarth fresh off the bench as Matisse in the corner. Now Holden Catoni steps into the middle and scores. 7th of the series for Holden Catoni, and he breaks the deadlock on the board. It's 1-0 Peterborough.
And you'll see it just coming down the center of the floor. Holden Catoni gets that feed from behind the net. And with that speed, see the pass come out there. He gets the ball with that speed coming down the slot. Decent way out of from the net as well. Could have had a couple more strides to get an even tighter on Riley Hutchcraft, who was rather deep in his net there on a play like that. Might have wanted to come out and challenge that one a bit more and cut down the angle. And it's 1-0 Peterborough, opening the scoring here in Game 4.
Brooklyn coach Jason Crosby having a loud conversation with one of the officials after the goal, as Peterborough wins the ensuing faceoff. Go up 1-0, and they get the next possession as well. Lakers, second time in this series, score the first goal and do it in consecutive games now. Passing by the Lakers, and Hutchcraft makes a save, and Turner Evans knocks the net off. So it's going to be Brooklyn ball, and Ryan McCrory's going to try and stretch the floor quickly. He'll slow down as Liam Osborne's off the bench. Osborne steps into the middle, off to Tanner Cook. Into the corner, Connor Kiernan. being watched closely by Sturris. Kiernan holding up top, works it off to Brady Kiernan. 4 to shoot for Brooklyn. Kiernan has to get one away, and he just rolls it on to Hutchinson, who's able to corral it.
Peterborough forcing Brooklyn to really wear down that shot clock now a couple of times.
Defensively being so good at keeping Brooklyn to the outside. There's an interception by Jacob Saunders, away quickly in transition. Saunders shoots, that one just missed the net. That is over and back against Brooklyn, so Tate Katoni will pick up and get the restart for Peterborough at the offensive end of the floor. Brooklyn trying to get something going there in transition, but couldn't with Saunders as that shot hits Hutchcraft in the chest. Rebound picked up by Tate Katoni. Austin Hazen after Milligan. Milligan works this one off, and Eli McLaughlin plays it into the corner. Now a centering pass for Hazen, shouldered away by Hutchcraft, and the rebound picked up by Jack Travassos.
I think that might have even got a piece of the crossbar as well after hitting Hutchcraft, so very close to making it 2-0.
Keenan Cook leaves this one for Kyle Waters. Drops this one off, Lucas Littlejohn over the top, and that one gets stopped by Drew Hutchinson. Made 40 saves in game number 2 on 52 Brooklyn shots. Peterborough running away with things, and then Brooklyn making it close, and then Brooklyn making it close at the end, but it was too little too late in game number 2. And that's going to be an offensive foul against Peterborough and give Brooklyn the ball quickly in transition, trying to do something with it. Saunders quickly down low. Kiernan gets stopped. Hutchinson on the doorstep. And I believe this is going to be an illegal substitution penalty coming against Peterborough, as Matt Gilray was onto the floor too quickly. So Brooklyn's going to their second power play of the game.
Well, Brooklyn had one of those earlier on this period, and now it's time for Peterborough to do the same. Hutchcraft is just having a break by the bench, so we might have a bit of a delay to start here, but Brooklyn, yep, second power play opportunity of the game early on, looking to tie it up. Just down 1 here, so a better start for Brooklyn compared to the last game, giving up 5 goals in the opening 8-ish minutes or so of the game, and here they are just down 1 in the opening 9. And Hutchcraft is now making his way back to the net, so we'll see. And this Brooklyn team, after talking to the coaching staff before the game, they're fired up, ready to go. Obviously, know they're down 3-0, but have all the faith in the world. But even Brady Kiernan on Instagram today with a post trying to motivate the guys, saying it's not over till it's over, essentially. Looking to fight like dogs from here on out.
Tanner Cook, that shot gets deflected, goes out of play. It stays Brooklyn ball. 15 seconds into the power play for Brooklyn. Just over 9 minutes gone in period number 1. Quick moving inside. Connor Kiernan gets stopped. Kyle Waters with the rebound. Fresh shot clock for Brooklyn again. Liam Osborne works that one off. Connor Kiernan behind the back. That one gets stopped by Hutchinson. Seeing everything early on in this one. Tanner Cook, quick passing by Brooklyn, and Hutchinson comes across and makes another save for the Lakers.
Yeah, Brooklyn with the nice passing play, but what I'm noticing, the defense for the Lakers, able to just stay still, not having to move a lot. I'd like to see on the power play for Brooklyn them to get the defenders moving a bit more than they currently are, to open up some passing lanes and some shooting lanes.
Tate Katoni works this one off for Hogarth. Short-handed is Michael White watching that one, and Brooklyn able to pick up the loose ball. Liam Osborne right off the boards, works it down low for Connor Kiernan. Pilchers in front of the net, gives it back to Osborne. Osborne stepping in, forced off to the boards by Alex Pace. Kyle Waters off to Tanner Cook, back to Waters. His shot shouldered away by Hutchinson. 40 seconds to go in the Brooklyn power play, and a new shot clock here for Peterborough as they step over mid-floor. Josh Currier having a good series with 2 goals and 10 assists through the first 3 games. Holden Katoni, 13 points now in the postseason. Led Major Series Lacrosse in all offensive categories, goals, assists, and points in the regular season. So that one got shot and deflected out of play. Landon Kells is on the Peterborough bench. So it's 5-on-5 here at the end of the power play for Brooklyn, and Peterborough won't have to make a change as Milligan makes his way to the bench. Hutchinson goes off to the net, and Catoni steps in for Peterborough. Holden Catoni, his shot just misses. Rebound picked up by Michael Grace, and that stretch pass comes in. Stevens, shouldered away by Hutchinson. He scored. It got through. Brooklyn ties the game at 1. Jake Stevens, second of the series.
And you'll see it as soon as Brooklyn got the ball, Jake Stevens took off. Maybe knowing that Hutchinson wasn't quite settled in net after running off from the bench, but look at all this space he has on the floor. It's him and nobody else. And he gets it off the post, I think, and then maybe off the back. We'll see it better from this angle here. Jake Stevens comes in, takes the shot, and yeah, it looks like it goes posted off the back of Hutchinson and trickles in, and the official right there to signal the goal, and Brooklyn ties this one up. Not something that anybody's been able to say much in this series so far, as we got a tie game other than at the start of the game.
11 and a half minutes into period number 1. 1-1 here between Peterborough and Brooklyn, and foul against Peterborough will give Brooklyn back the ball. Sometimes you need the bounces to go your way, and lacrosse is a game of runs. Just trying to create as many runs as possible, and it just seems when Peterborough in this series has gone on their runs, they haven't given up the lead. Now Tanner Cook scores! Back-to-back goals for Brooklyn, and it's 2-1.
A bit of misdirection there caused by Brooklyn. Some quick passing, and the defense was a bit behind themselves for Peterborough. You see the ball here in the hands of Brady Kiernan. He cuts away and makes the pass, and you're not sure where the ball is. It makes its way up top and then back into the hands of Tanner Cook. You'll see him here cut towards the middle of the floor, right coming towards your screen, gets the ball, quick shot off, and beats Hutchinson in the top corner to give Brooklyn the lead here in game number 4.
Josh Courier back up the floor for Peterborough, trying to respond. It's a great screen on Robert Hope that opened him up, as Turner Evans only played in 2 games so far this series, has 3 goals and 6 assists, did not play in game number 2 here on Friday night. Michael Grace steps over mid-floor, and Zach Kerrigan will settle things down for Brooklyn. 15 to shoot. Kyle Waters off to Brady Kiernan. Kiernan works it back to Pilcher. His shot gets stopped by Hutchinson. Mitch Ogilvie looking to stretch the floor, and he gets it up to Jordan Storis. Tate Catoni. 7 minutes to go in the opening period. 2-1 Brooklyn. Holden Catoni. Back to Tate. Tate Catoni cutting to the net. That one hit off the post, stayed out. Won't be over and back as it goes back into Peterborough territory, and Hutchinson will come out of his net to play it. Thomas Hogarth. Off to Austin Hazen into the middle. Now works this one off. Catoni, cross floor. That one gets picked off again. Jacob Saunders leading this game in interceptions and has a breakaway this time. He scores! First of the postseason for Jacob Saunders, and he makes it 3-1 Brooklyn.
And you see the celebration there with Tanner Cook, the energy from his teammate as Jacob Saunders grabs this ball, intercepts it, and does it all himself. Nobody around him down the floor. Checks his shoulder, picks a spot, goes between the legs of Drew Hutchinson, and makes it 3-1 for Brooklyn. The first time in this series they have a 2-goal lead, and the first time they have a lead since the first goal they scored in game 2 that came in the first 34 seconds of that game. So it's been a minute since Brooklyn's had a lead, let alone ever a 2-goal lead in this semifinal series, but they have one now, 3-1 in the opening first period.
And you know Peterborough is going to respond.
Yep.
It's when are they going to respond, and what are you going to do until that point if you're Brooklyn?
And it's also how quickly as well.
Because it comes in waves and it comes quickly. Matt Gilray on the face-off against Mike Byrne as we get back underway here the Iroquois Park Sports Center on pad number 1, home of the Ontario Lacrosse Festival. Been a great few days of lacrosse, and we still have a couple more here on this 6-pad arena facility in Whitby. As Peterborough gets this one back, and Matt Gilray up the floor gets bumped off the ball by Brady Kiernan. Brooklyn has to get it over mid-floor, and Ben McDonald will work this one off for Lucas Littlejohn. Littlejohn off to Kerrigan. Now Cook, cross floor. That shot by Littlejohn gets stopped by Hutchinson. Pilcher. Tanner Cook went for a change, but he stays on as Brooklyn got the offensive rebound. Kerrigan off to Littlejohn, now Cook. Behind the back bounce shot, and that one just missed the net. That one will go over the glass and out of play, so it's Peterborough ball.
I think Brooklyn's calling for a deflection. I don't know if that went off the mask of Drew Hutchinson on that bounce shot.
We're not very close to that net, but from where we were, it looked like it missed the net clean. Cam Milligan. Let's this one off to Career. Up top, Turner Evans. Looking to get free in front of the net. Milligan. Now back cross floor to Evans. He has 2 to shoot. Won't be able to scoop it in time. And the shot clock violation against Peterborough. Brooklyn's bench not happy with the late shot. They're going to try to get everything they can.
I wouldn't expect them to not complain about that one. It was close. Close enough, in my opinion. If you're thinking shoot, you're still following through on your shot. Nothing ill-advised from Peterborough's end of things, but Brooklyn, yeah, of course you're going to complain a bit.
Pass for Connor Kiernan goes into the corner. Liam Osborne. Off to Pilcher, bounces off the end glass, and Brady Kiernan couldn't get his stick away in time, and away goes Colton Armstrong in transition. Had a couple in game number 2. Now a penalty coming up here to Brooklyn. Gavin Prout, the forward coach for Brooklyn, not happy with the call, and 10 seconds to go on the shot clock as Holden Catoni works it out for Thomas Hogarth. Catoni up top. Holden Catoni behind the back. That shot just missed the net. Hogarth now underneath. That shot got through, but the save was made by Hutchcraft. And Pilcher is going to take an extra shot at take Catoni as Brooklyn will go to the penalty kill for the second time in this one. Peterborough off to their second man advantage of the game.
And I think it's another illegal substitution, I think, is what the call is going to be.
And is Lucas Littlejohn going to serve this one again? So Holden Catoni will get us started up again from center floor. 4:04 to go in the first period. 3-1 Brooklyn, and Peterborough on the power play. McLaughlin to Catoni, Courier. Back to Holden Catoni, Courier. Over the top, shouldered away by Hutchcraft. Bouncing ball picked up by Carter McKenzie. He lost his stick in transition, now lost the ball. Finally gets picked up, and that's the 8-second backcourt violation against Brooklyn, so they can't do anything with it. Peterborough gets it right back. Eli McLaughlin off to Courier. Holden Catoni. Back to Courier. Catoni. McLaughlin steps in, stopped by Hutchcraft. That ball bounced back into Peterborough territory. Holden Catoni will reset. Courier. Back to Holden Catoni. Gets the screen and works it off to Eli McLaughlin. Now gets the screen from Evans and missed the net. Now a chance in transition for Saunders again. In a foot race with Turner Evans, it gets taken down on a stick that clipped him up high. Crowd wanted a call, but they won't get one.
Gavin Prout gives a bit of a sarcastic clap to the officials on that.
Jacob Saunders, who came up limping back to the Brooklyn bench after his breakaway goal, went limping again after being taken down by Turner Evans. 4 seconds on the shot clock. Cook stepped into one, and Hutchinson makes the save. Matt Gilray will turn around and bring it back up the floor. 30 seconds to go in the power play for Peterborough. Holden Catoni. Off to take Catoni. Eli McLaughlin working it around. Milligan, Katoni, off to Tate. Now Holden, back to Tate, Katoni. Eli McLaughlin off to Hogarth. Holden Katoni up top, finds the lane. Hutchcraft makes the save. Travassos gets knocked down, stays out of the crease. Milligan battling for the ball as that one gets swatted and kept in by Holden Katoni. Tate Katoni lost it off to the boards. Now Littlejohn fresh out of the box. He has a break. Lucas Littlejohn in. Stopped by Hutchinson. Rebound in front of the Peterborough net, and Storis picks it up and gets taken down. Now a loose ball again, and that gets picked up by Brooklyn. Ben McDonald. A good chance there for Lucas Littlejohn, but he couldn't convert. Junior A player for the Whippy Warriors. Luke Pilcher. Now Tanner Cook looking to step into one. Behind the back pass. Littlejohn scores! 91 seconds to go in the first, and Lucas Littlejohn picks up the marker for Brooklyn to make it 4-1.
And how about that pass from Tanner Cook? Deceiving a little bit there. You'll see him call for the ball across the floor. He has it here, fakes the shot, holds on around the back, right to Littlejohn in the slot. Makes no mistake on that shot, has all the room, that clean shooting lane, and beats the goaltender clean to make it a 4-1 lead here with 1:31 to go for Brooklyn in Game 4.
Big opening period for Brooklyn. They've killed off 2 Peterborough power plays, held the Lakers to just 1 goal. Just put their 4th in as Peterborough looks to go to work. Thomas Whitting leaves it for Austin Hazen. Cook and Waters getting the assist as that one gets taken away by Brooklyn. Michael Grace as he stretches the floor for Carter McKenzie. His shot stopped by Hutchinson, and the rebound gets picked up by Peterborough.
And that's another offensive turnover for Peterborough as well. One cost them on a Jacob Saunders breakaway goal.
Cam Milligan works this one off for Thomas Hogarth. Holden Katoni up top, looking to get Peterborough back on the board. Milligan picks up the rebound, flips it out in front of the net, and that one gets taken away by Jacob Saunders. Stretches the floor for Keenan Cook. Game clock still above the shot clock here, so not the final possession. Tanner Cook behind the back shot gets stopped by Hutchinson, and Peterborough takes over as Hutchinson lost it in his equipment. See if Peterborough elects to call timeout, and they do as Chad Tutton steps over center floor with 20 seconds to go in the period and 24 seconds on the shot clock. So this last possession could determine whether Peterborough goes into the intermission down by 2 or down by 3.
Yeah, this will do it here. They're going to drop a play. All the offensive guys at the offensive end of the bench right now, as you see, talking it over, deciding what play they want to run. We've seen Peterborough do this a few times successfully, is call that timeout this year and drop a last second period play that works out successfully. Goaltender Kelson Hutchinson talking things over too. At that end of the bench, Brooklyn's on the floor now. You've got McKenzie, Mike Byrne, Jacob Saunders, and Michael White. Jake Stevens. You got Hogarth, Hazen, Evans, McLaughlin, Katoni, and Courier for Peterborough here in the last 20 seconds. And it looks like they're going to have the extra attackers. You see Hutchinson's on the bench. And starting with the ball is Josh Courier.
So they'll work this down to about 8 seconds before they make a play on the net. And Courier starts it up top. Holden Katoni. Down low, gets it right back. Now cross floor, Hazen couldn't corral it. Hutchcraft picks up and just sends it down the floor at the end of period number 1. So the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club, for the first time in this series, will take a lead into an intermission, as some pushing and shoving after the period came to an end, but both teams will allow cooler heads to prevail and head to their respective locker rooms. So a big period there for the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club to come away with a 4-1 lead through 20 minutes of play, Andrew.
Yeah, it's been a while since Brooklyn even had a lead, let alone a 2-goal lead. Forget about a 3-goal lead. But here we are, 4-1 the score after the first period of play for Brooklyn, who came out hot, holding Peterborough to just 1 goal in the opening 20 minutes.
Peterborough Lakers lead the series 3-0. Brooklyn has to win to stay alive. They hold a 3-goal lead through 20 minutes of play here at the Iroquois Park Sports Center. We'll have your first intermission after the break. You're watching Major Series Playoff Lacrosse on Rogers TV. Some youngsters on the floor getting some extra shots in at the first intermission as the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club lead the Peterborough Lakers 4-1 in game number 4 of this Major Series Lacrosse semifinal. Peterborough leads this series 3-0. Jack Moore, Andrew Osmond back with you at the intermission. Andrew, big period for the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club. It looked like it was getting away from them early and could go the wrong way, but they respond with 4 unanswered to Peterborough's opening goal.
Yeah, Peterborough opens the scoring, and then Brooklyn comes back with 4 goals, and that's where we sit. 4-1 the score, something we haven't seen this series so far, so unusual territory for both teams in this first round matchup. But, you know, if you're Brooklyn, you got to be happy with that. Not only the 4-1 lead, but you outshot Peterborough 21-11 in that period. Both teams had 2 power play opportunities, so it's a decent chance to get a lot of shots, but Brooklyn, both those 21 shots on net, something you don't see very often. They got 21 and they got 4 goals to show for it.
Taking advantage of some turnovers as well in that opening 20 minutes of play as we take a look at the first period highlights, and Peterborough gets on the board first.
Yeah, and from no stranger to this arena either is holding Catoni, but here's some first period saves. A nice one there over the shoulder of Hutchinson. And another one there was pretty quick. A few offensive chances for Brooklyn, plus a power play. They weren't able to capitalize. And then it was holding Catoni here. You'll see him streaking down the middle of the floor, gets that pass right there, and then shoots it from well out of the zone with Hutchcraft a bit deep in his net. Not able to challenge that one and cut down the angle, and that opened the scoring. And then we'll see another decent effort and a good save here by Hutchinson on the quick pass there from Cook, who's working that ball around nicely today. And then here's Brooklyn's first on a partial break down the floor. It's going to be Jake Stevens getting up to that ball and putting that one past to tie the game up. And then right after that, it's going to be Tanner Cook getting a goal. And you'll see it here. The one-touch pass, he cuts to the slot, gets that, and shoots that one only about on his stick for a second or so before he releases that shot. And here's another goal off the interception and the turnover. Jacob Saunders, a few of them on Peterborough. He runs down the floor and makes no mistakes through the legs of Hutchinson and gives Brooklyn their first 2-goal lead of the series. After that possible non-call, there was a penalty, and out of the box is Littlejohn. He comes down the floor and he gets stopped by Hutchinson, but then a little later he gets his revenge here from a nice pass on Tanner Cook, and he gets the 4th goal of the game for Brooklyn, and that's where we stand, a 4-1 score. Nice passing, nice shooting, and nice effort all around really from Brooklyn in that first period.
And it felt like in the early going of that game, Drew Hutchinson making a number of big saves when Brooklyn had opportunities at the offensive end of the floor, Peterborough getting the first goal. It felt like we could be in the territory of, uh-oh, here we go again. Peterborough's going to start to run away with this because of the combination of goaltending, and if their offense gets hot at the right time, they can score on anybody. But Brooklyn able to slow things down. They were able to open things up, and it felt like they made some adjustments in that first period where Hutchinson was making save after save after save, and then they were finally able to beat him with that squeaker on the Stevens goal, and then trying to exploit some of his weaknesses in the net after that.
Yeah, no, they did. So you say that first save there early on in Hutchinson making that nice shoulder save, as you mentioned. You thought maybe that's going to be the chance there that Brooklyn had that they can't solve. They go down 1-0. They go on the penalty kill, and that was really the key, I think, is that they stood tall and stood solid on those penalty kills. The first penalty kill for Brooklyn, down the end of the floor for about a full minute. They got a fresh shot clock down there and wasted quite a bit of time down in the offensive end of the floor there on the penalty kill, which didn't really give Peterborough a chance to really work their offense and work their power play in that first attempt, which worked out well. And then as we see it as 4-1 now, but yeah, it seemed like, Peterborough opens the scoring. There's a couple power plays on, basically a bench changing issue for Brooklyn. So one of these, not uncharacteristics, but something that's not really worth the penalty. One of these unforced penalties on Brooklyn's hand that you thought, Peterborough's going to maybe start running away with it, like we saw in game number 3 with 5 opening goals to start the game. But nope, Brooklyn hung strong and stayed in there, and then got their first goal in and got their legs moving and really looked to be on par and on pace with Peterborough for really the rest of that period.
Brooklyn a combined 0-7 against the Peterborough Lakers with the regular season and the postseason so far, trying to pick up their first victory against the Lakers this season. We've talked about it a number of times through the year. They were 1-7 against Peterborough and Six Nations in the regular season. They were 7-1 against Coburg and Brampton in the regular season. So for the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club, it's about showing that they can play with the top dogs in this league, and they're doing that through 20 minutes of play, but it's putting together a complete 60-minute game as well. Teams who have their back against the wall and have nothing to lose, and they come out swinging, those can be sometimes the most dangerous teams. In Brooklyn in the first period had taken their initial shot to try and get back into this series. We'll have the second period coming up for you after the break. You're watching Major Series Playoff Lacrosse on Rogers TV. Teams making their way back onto the floor for the second period. The Brooklyn Lacrosse Club with a 4-1 lead through 20 minutes of play. Peterborough with a 3-0 series lead in this Major Series Lacrosse semi-final matchup. Brooklyn trying to do what Coburg was able to do in the other series, and that's take a win away from the Six Nations Chiefs. Brooklyn trying to take a win away from Peterborough here today. You see teams getting ready to go for the middle frame, and like we mentioned in that first period, Andrew, Peterborough's going to have a strong response. This isn't a team that's used to just scoring 1 goal on 11 shots. They're used to filling the net with a ton of goals, and they're looking to do that here in period number 2.
Yeah, so far just the 1 goal from Holding Tony to speak for it, but they're a team that's up there in terms of scoring. They score a lot. They score in bunches, put up 16 in game number 3. So they're able to do some damage, and they'll try to do so here in the second.
Their offense collectively in this series, like we mentioned off the top of the broadcast, only gotten better through the postseason. 12 goals in game 1, 14 goals in game 2, 16 in game number 3. And they'd love to end the series here tonight and not have to play a game 5 on Thursday at the Peterborough Memorial Center. Now quick passing by Brooklyn. Tanner Cook scores. Second of the game, third point of the night for Tanner Cook, and it's 5-1 Brooklyn.
Well, we saw on the Jake Stevens goal the energy that he brought to that celebration, and he's feeling it here. As you mentioned, third point of the game, second goal of the game. And you'll see him here grab that ball, causes that pick, gets the ball, and right in front there, just quickly one-times that off the floor between the legs of Hutchinson for Brooklyn's 5th goal of the game. 5 goals.
And now Peterborough responds immediately. Matt Gilray right off the face-off, and the Lakers get back on the board.
And there it is. A quick celebration from Peterborough. Their second goal of the game. 5-2 now is the score. And they're very quick. Gilray is. You see him there. Ready to take the draw.
So Peterborough with the response, but it's after Brooklyn scores first. So we had 2 goals in the first minute of period number 2. Brooklyn gets possession off the ensuing face-off and a scrum on the near side boards. Thomas Whitty, Chad Tutton in there for Peterborough. Brooklyn with a number of players trying to knock things loose, including Connor Kiernan and Mike Byrne, as Liam Osborne got tied up with Matt Gilray, and Peterborough comes away with the ball. Gil Matisse off to Holden Catoni. Catoni Works that one off to Courier. Matisse back up top. Catoni over the top. That one gets stopped by Hutchcraft. Rebound pass in front of the net, and Turner Evans couldn't find Josh Courier on the far side. Ryan McCrory will stretch this one down the floor. Jacob Saunders, who's been great at intercepting Peterborough offensive passes and getting the transition game going for Brooklyn here tonight, leaves this one for Tanner Cook, who's been red hot for Brooklyn. Cook leaves it for Waters. Now a pass for Pilcher. He wasn't ready for it. Who's going to pick it up? It's Pilcher on a diving play from Connor Kiernan. Now a quick shot gets stopped by Hutchinson. Peterborough back up the floor quickly as Hutchinson starts it from his own end. Colton Armstrong driving into the middle. His shot gets through. Colton Armstrong makes it a 2-goal game. 2 minutes, 16 seconds into the second period.
And we mentioned it, how quickly can they score? Well, there you go. There's 2 back-to-back pretty quickly to make it 5-3 now for Brooklyn. Chipping away at that lead are the Lakers. This time it's Colton Armstrong. Makes a nice move on the boards to cut away from trouble. You see him here, and then cut to the middle of the floor, through to the defender, beat him to the slot, and then gets that one past the Defensive Player of the Year in Riley Hutchcraft. For Peterborough's 3rd goal of the game, we got a 2-goal game now here in the second.
Turner Evans' shot gets blocked by the head of Ben McDonald. And Matt Gilray is the one who picks it up. Turner Evans works this one off to Mitch Ogilvie. Eli McLaughlin steps down, 10 to shoot for Peterborough. Tate Catoni into the corner. Quick passing. Hogarth's shot gets stopped by McDonald and picked up by Riley Hutchcraft. 9 assists in the regular season for Hutchcraft. And like you said, Defensive Player of the Year. Not Goaltender of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year. Lucas Littlejohn has one in this contest for Brooklyn. Connor Kiernan stepping in, turns this one back. That one gets picked off. Colton Armstrong in transition, looking for his 2nd of the game. Armstrong stopped by Hutchcraft.
And that would have been something there. Very quickly, it becomes a 1-goal game, and it's Armstrong back-to-back goals for Peterborough, but Hutchcraft making the stop, keeping his team with his 2-goal lead.
We talked about how good Saunders has been in transition for Brooklyn. Armstrong has 5 goals in this series for Peterborough. Waters steps in. That one gets stopped, bouncing through the crease, but Peterborough is able to find it as Jordan Sturris starts the transition with Captain Robert Hope. Colton Catoni slowing it down offensively. Milligan steps in. His shot stopped by Hutchcraft, and the rebound knocked away by Brooklyn. Ryan McCrory in transition. Has Byrne. Mike Byrne's shot gets stopped by Hutchinson, and Peterborough picks up the defensive rebound. Frantic pace in the long change of the second period, as we're still early on in this middle frame, as Matisse works it off to Catoni. Tate Catoni has it knocked away, and away goes Jake Stevens. He has a breakaway for Brooklyn. Jake Stevens stopped by Hutchinson. Jack Travasso's trying to jump on the rebound for Brooklyn. We've seen some big breakaway saves at both ends of the floor in period number 2.
Been all the transition guys so far here really in period 2, and finally for Brooklyn they're able to get the Kiernan brothers on with Kyle Waters and some of that offensive possession kind of guys.
Connor Kiernan off to Waters in front of the net. He scores! 5th of the postseason for Kyle Waters, and he regains that 3-goal advantage for Brooklyn. It's 6-3.
And a good time for that goal if you're Brooklyn. You just gave up a couple quick goals back-to-back, and the pace was really picking up, and it could have gone either way. And then calming things down here were Brooklyn for the first time in a few minutes, and a pretty good give and go there with Kyle Waters. And a one-handed pass, I believe, there from Connor Kiernan as well. And they get that one past Drew Hutchinson.
Chad Tutton with a nice pass to Armstrong. Quick passing by Peterborough, and Gilray gets stopped on the doorstep by Hutchcraft. Those transition players so deadly for the Lakers. Gilray, Armstrong, and Tutton, a threat offensively to get things done. And then that's not even mentioning the Catonis or Turner Evans and the guys at the offensive end of the floor for Peterborough.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're not mentioning those top guys, the big point getters for Peterborough in that sentence there.
Eli McLaughlin, who's had a good series for the Lakers, he picks it up again in the corner. Pass in front for Catoni, and he scores. Quick response for the Lakers, holding Catoni's second of the game. And it's a 6-4 contest, 5:28 into period number 2.
And the goals are coming in bunches here. The offense is clicking for both teams right now. And this quick passing that we've seen plentiful, especially in game 3 from Peterborough. Coming through once again. Holding Catoni right there in front, no man on him. Brooklyn defenders getting caught cheating just a little bit behind their own goal line. That opened it up for Holden right in the slot to get that pass and throw it on net.
Ryan McCrory looking for something here for Brooklyn as he slows it down, and Jacob Saunders works this one off for Lucas Littlejohn. He's been a spark plug in the Brooklyn lineup since he is entered towards the end of the season, and now a chance in transition for Mitch Ogilvie. Ogilvie gets turned away as Brady Kiernan came back in defense. So Kiernan will get it back from Riley Hutchcraft. Tanner Cook knocks the Peterborough defender down to the floor, and that's going to be Peterborough ball, and now Hope getting into it with Brady Kiernan.
And I think they both might be going. We'll see.
It looks like it's just going. It looks like it's just going to be Brady Kiernan.
I think Brady Kiernan's trying to say I was trying to drop the ball, but he was hacking at my stick, so I couldn't drop it.
So Peterborough down 6-4. Just over 6 minutes into period number 2. There's the knockdown by Tanner Cook. And then Brady Kiernan gets whacked by Hope. Unable to get the ball away, finally does, and then Kiernan takes the shot at Hope's head. And that's where the penalty comes from.
And we're just taking a water break here from the 2 goaltenders just at the benches. All 4 goaltenders on the bench and on the floor, standing together there, having a quick chat. And both Hutchinson and Hutchcraft going back to their nets. That's tough for you. Let's just say for announcers doing play-by-play, having both goaltenders, Hutchinson and Hutchcraft. It's not easy.
Thank you for pointing it out. I was doing pretty good until that point, but you know what's going to happen now.
Yeah.
That's the announcer's jinx that is so alive and well.
You said it. I just pointed out how difficult your job
is. You said it and then brought it up, and now it's going to become a problem. Peterborough on the power play, down by 2, middle of the second period. Eli McLaughlin gets taken down, so a 5-on-3 coming up here for Peterborough. Eli McLaughlin slowing things down with Turner Evans as Drew Hutchinson steps off to the bench. Eli McLaughlin can't convert on the one-timer, so a minute 36 of a 5-on-3 for Peterborough as this penalty is going to go against Jacob Saunders.
And a bit turned around. You see Jacob Saunders trying to keep track of his man. And a bit too aggressive there trying to get the ball free. I mean, he did get the ball free, but caused a penalty in the process.
I think Jacob Saunders is sitting there in the penalty box saying, well, it happened to me in the first.
Yeah, maybe a bit more aggressively, and about the same spot on the floor,
exactly. Holden Catoni works this one off. 5-on-3 for Peterborough. Career to Catoni. Now down low, McLaughlin turned away by Hutchcraft. 1-on-1 with the Peterborough attacker.
That was a great stop there to follow that ball and get that shoulder in front of it.
Holden Catoni off to Career, back to Catoni. Steps in, he scores! That's the hat trick. Peterborough will stay on the power play, and they're only down by 1. It's 6-5.
Yep, they'll have another minute 28 on the power play to try to tie this one up. And again, the passing, the patience that they have, and then picking his spot, Holden Catoni has it for quite a while and fakes the shot, and then eventually follows through and beats Riley Hutchcraft, who was deep in his net on that one, but that's because he had 2 Peterborough Laker players right beside him on the crease, and he had to play in case the ball came down low for a quick shot down low.
He's got 60% of Peterborough's goals in this one. They're still 5-on-4 for the next minute 10 seconds, and they're only down by 1. Holden Catoni gets it back from Career. Catoni steps in behind the back. Turner Evans. Cross floor. That one over the top, and we're tied. Thomas Hogarth on the power play. 6-6. midway through period number 2.
Well, you were talking about it. Where are these big guys, the big names for Peterborough? Well, they're coming through now. Holden Catoni with that hat trick. Thomas Hogarth ties this one up now. That one again on the power play. Back-to-back power play goals for the Lakers. They're able to tie this one up. And it's a good passing play. It started with Holden Catoni faking the big, powerful shot at the top of the circle. And the ball makes its way down low, then across the crease to Thomas Hogarth, who beats Riley Hutchcraft for the 6th goal, and that's where we're tied up at 6 now.
Tanner Cook, as Brooklyn gets possession off a foul against Peterborough. Cross-floor passing, and Pilcher working against Gilray. Now Connor Kiernan's shot. That gets stopped by Hutchinson, and Keel Matisse will work it back up the floor for Gilray in transition. Tutton will go off for a change, as will the other 4 Peterborough runners to get the attackers on the floor. Gilray flips this one off to Eli McLaughlin. Tate Catoni stepping around, works this one inside. McLaughlin scores! 7-6 Lakers, and they take their first lead since 1-0.
Well, Eli McLaughlin had 4 goals in game number 3, and he gets his first of this one, and it gets the lead back for Peterborough, their first lead since they opened the scoring in the first period. And you'll see him here, takes care of Jack Travassos, gets him out of the play just a little bit, frees him up with some space to receive that pass and hit in on Hutchcraft for that goal.
Ogilvy, centering pass. Armstrong couldn't get the shot away. Brooklyn looking to go in transition now. Mike Byrne up the floor. His pace kept with him stride for stride. Connor Kiernan gets the pass from Byrne. Now Brady Kiernan working against Armstrong. Kiernan off to Connor Kiernan. Now Cook called again on the illegal screen as Armstrong went to the floor, and it's Peterborough ball. Like you mentioned, Eli McLaughlin, 4 goals in game number 3, 4 goals in game number 1, had 1 in game number 2. Now it's 10 in the series, and that last one gave Peterborough a 7-6 lead. McLaughlin for Holden Catoni. His stick gets knocked out of his hands, and he used his right hand to try and pass that one as Brooklyn works it up the floor quickly. Jack Travassos off to Connor Kiernan. Liam Osborne off the bench. Travassos will get a change. Brady Kiernan, Luke Pilcher, Lucas Littlejohn. Connor Kiernan for Osborne. Osborne off to Pilcher. That gets stopped by Hutchinson. Connor Kiernan can't find the loose ball, and Matisse works it back up the floor for Chad Tutton, just out of his reach, so Ben McDonald will pick up for Brooklyn. Connor Kiernan steps into the middle, gets the screen from Kerrigan. Now Kerrigan in front. That one gets stopped by Hutchinson. Matt Gilray stepping away from Tanner Cook and brings it up in transition. Tate Catoni scores! Picks the near corner and gives Peterborough a 2-goal advantage for the first time in this contest. Just over midway through on Tate Catoni, 2nd of the series.
Tate Catoni's 2nd goal of the series gets a 2-goal lead for Peterborough here, and I'm not sure if it deflected off of Jake Stevens on the shot off the stick there. You see his stick go flying. Don't know if that was the follow-through of the shot from Tate Catoni or the shot was actually deflected and fooled Riley Hutchcraft. Nonetheless, it's a 2-goal lead for the Lakers. First time they've had such a lead in this contest.
Outscoring Brooklyn 7-2 in period number 2. And we're just over midway through this middle frame. Armstrong in a battle for the loose ball, picked up by Connor Kiernan. Kiernan flips this one off, taken away by Armstrong. Now it's pace, back to Armstrong. He'll slow things down to get some forwards off the bench, as Armstrong works this one off to Robert Hope. Game clock hasn't started yet, but the shot clock has. Turner Evans works this one off to Austin Hazen. Hazen, that gets stopped by Hutchcraft as the ball rolls off to the wall. Still haven't seen the game clock move. It is working on your screen, but that's not connected to the one in-house, and now it just starts to go. As Cam Milligan. Turner Evans, and that's a illegal screen against Peterborough at the offensive end of the floor. Ben McDonald. In transition. Works this one off for Kyle Waters. Waters back to Tanner Cook. Pilcher gives the screen. Cook with 2 in this one. Works it off to Osborne. Osborne driving to the net, and that one gets stopped by Hutchinson. Thomas Whitty picks up the rebound for Peterborough, and Matisse will bring it up the floor. Matisse just steps into one, and Hutchcraft makes the save. Rebound picked up by McCrory, who floats it down the floor for Jacob Saunders. Saunders gets the screen as Mitch Ogilvie gets back on defense. Now Lucas Littlejohn out to Tanner Cook. Cook fires a shot that just misses wide. Now Saunders stepping away from pressure, but gets knocked down on the floor as Robert Hopes brings it free, and Eric Schul picks up, and Saunders still down on the floor for Brooklyn. So he'll need to be checked on by the Brooklyn training staff, and he's been battling with what seems like a lower body injury all game.
Yeah, and then here, can't tell if he's holding his right leg there, if someone came up, but he did get hacked at rather hard while he fell to the floor, and the Lakers were trying to get the ball free, which they did, so I don't know if it was a stick that got him somewhere or if he has cramped up a little bit. It looks like Kyle Waters is going to go and help out as well, as the officials are talking this over. And we're not sure we'll get the game clock in arena fixed or not, but there's about a 40-second difference between the actual game and when the in-arena clock started. And they're going to take him right to the locker room here. Looks to be an issue with his leg, as you said, Jack, been kind of limping around and laboring on it for a large portion of the game. But he was able to get a goal. So you see the play here, he gets knocked down, you see by the boards on the far end there, gets knocked down to the floor. And then, he gets falled on, and so a player falls on him as well. So that might have actually done it. And you see him try to kind of get up, and then official realizes it's a bit more serious than just getting winded and blows the play dead. And we're gonna have an empty net here. Not anymore as Hutchinson heads back.
Peterborough debating what they wanted to do there. Is Courier holding on to it. Holden Katoni off to McLaughlin, back into the corner. That one gets picked off by Michael White. And away goes Brooklyn in transition. White does a good job keeping it away from the back checker. He steps in, stopped by Hutchinson, and the rebound picked up by Jake Stevens. Steps away from Tutton. Now it's out to Michael Grace. Holden Katoni sticking his stick in there, and Kyle Waters will pick it up. Brady Kiernan gets the screen from Cook, steps into one. Hutchinson makes the save as that rebound goes towards the Brooklyn bench and kept in by Connor Kiernan. Tanner Cook scores! He had 3 in the postseason through 3 games. He has 3 tonight and pulls Brooklyn back within 1.
Well, the energy guy gets it going once again. You'll see him come off the bench. You see him kind of at the bottom of your screen, get off the bench, and then cut to the middle of the floor right there, gets the ball, and throws that one in. The big body making a play all by himself. That sharpshooter, he has those hands and he has that ability. We've seen it in the limited number of games he's played this year, that he's able to get those shots in, but also is that big body and can be that guy in front of the net to get that ball past the goaltender with just a few feet to play with. That time it was well out.
8-7 game now as Josh Courier with it. Courier over the top, that one missed the net and bounces right to Tate Katoni, so Peterborough retains possession. No new shot clock. Turner Evans flips this one in. Eli McLaughlin behind the back, that one missed the net. And Brooklyn just letting the shot clock wind out here. So it's going to be Brooklyn ball. For those of you wondering, Six Nations with a 9-3 lead on the Coburg Kodiaks in game number 4. That's with 3.5 minutes to play in period number 2. So that would give Six Nations a 3-1 series lead with a victory in that one. And they'd have to close out that series in game number 5 at the Iroquois Lacrosse Arena. There's a penalty coming up to Peterborough. So Brooklyn's going to go to their third power play of the game. They're 0 for 2 so far. Peterborough's 2 for 4. As Connor Kiernan works that one off. Pilcher's shot gets stopped by Hutchinson. And with 6:52 to go in the second period, Brooklyn's going to a power play for the first time in the middle frame as Mitch Ogilvie goes to the penalty box.
So far, Brooklyn unable to score and unable to capitalize on the power play in this game, but they'll get a chance here, the first one of the second period. It's been a lot of back and forth, transitional rush plays, but Brooklyn getting a couple with some solid possession time, and here they'll have a chance with the possession to set something up here to try to tie this one up once again.
Kyle Waters, his shot gets kicked out by Hutchinson and then goes screaming into the fourth row. So Brooklyn gets the ball back with a fresh shot clock 12 seconds in to the power play. Waters again as Hutchinson can't make the save. He scores. Second of the game for Kyle Waters, and we're tied at 8 on Brooklyn's first power play goal of the night.
It looked like Drew Hutchinson thought he had it there, the way he was staying still, but no, it snuck behind him. And I believe it was Kiernan that saw it go in first, and if not called the goal before the official did. But just at the top, faking the pass and having that shooting lane was Kyle Waters, who snuck that one through Hutchinson to tie it up at 8.
It got through, and Brooklyn back even. Thomas Whitty. We're back to 5-on-5. Brooklyn 1 for 3 on the power play. Peterborough 2 for 4. And now with possession off the last Brooklyn goal, Turner Evans. As Austin Hazen down in front, so Peterborough's going back to the power play here. Hazen gets up and will stay on the floor. 5 seconds to shoot for Peterborough. McLaughlin whistles one wide. Now a chance for Hogarth, and that one never made it to the net. Shot clock violation against Brooklyn, and Peterborough's back on the power play for the 5th time tonight.
Hazen is checking his throat area or his chin right now to see what the damage is. You'll see him there, number 8 in white, cutting towards the middle of the floor, and I think he just got a stick up high is what happened there. And I can't tell who that was from, but we've got the player in the box now for 2 minutes or less. Coming in, 2 for 4 coming in, and the penalty is going to Jake Stevens.
Another penalty coming up against Brooklyn for a slash as that shot gets stopped by Hutchcraft. It's the man who picked up the loose ball, Mike Byrne, going to the penalty box. So for the second time tonight, Peterborough's going to a 5-on-3. This one's for 1:47 seconds. The last one was for 1:36.
And Thomas Hogarth threw that penalty. He's kind of walking it off right now. You'll see it on the right side here. Number 27, Mike Byrne with that hack there, and you could hear it from the stands. And we even had headphones on, and we get to hear that thump from all the way here.
Catoni gets it back from Courier. Quick passing. McLaughlin scores. 4 of the 5 Peterborough players got a stick on that one. And just 13 seconds into the power play, Peterborough retakes the 1-goal lead.
Eli McLaughlin, the beneficiary of some nice passing here from the Catonis, and it makes its way down low, cross crease twice. 2 cross crease passes, one there to the right of Hutchcraft, back to the left, and very quickly Eli McLaughlin is there and makes no mistake to make it 9-8. That one, another goal on the power play, the 3rd of the game, and Peterborough still on the power play here for 1:38.
So 2 5-on-3s. When you look back at the end of this one, depending on which way it goes, you could say that those will have a difference in period number 2 as Courier's cross-floor pass for Turner Evans misses, and Holden Catoni picks up. 5 to shoot for Peterborough. Evans fires. Hutchcraft makes the save. Rebound goes to the end boards, and Turner Evans picks up, but it's a foul against Courier, so it's going to be Brooklyn ball. 5 minutes to go in period number 2.
You got to get it across the floor here, and they will.
Carter McKenzie brings it up, trying to kill some time here for Brooklyn. But like you mentioned earlier in the broadcast, Andrew, Brooklyn's penalty kill has been able to put some into the back of the net this year. trying to do it here to tie up the game. 9 to shoot for Brooklyn. Cook off to Connor Kiernan, into the middle, turned away by Tutton. Now Cook fires, that one gets blocked and goes out of play. And it was a deflection by Peterborough, so it's going to stay Brooklyn ball. So 30-second shot clock restart. 44 seconds on the penalty clock when we restarted. So Brooklyn can get this down if they can get it down to 0 on the shot clock. Matt Gilray with some aggressive defense on Tanner Cook.
Yeah, Tanner Cook wanting a call.
Didn't get it. Connor Kiernan steps in, drops this one back. A bouncing ball back to center. 7 seconds to go as Liam Osborne picks up. Osborne sidesteps Gilray, but gets the ball knocked out of his cradle. Peterborough picks up and heads back up the floor with less than 10 to go on the power play. Josh Courier works that one down low. Thomas Hogarth off to Eli McLaughlin. Into the corner for Turner Evans as we're back to 5-on-5. So Peterborough now 3 of 7 on the man advantage in this one. That shot stopped by Hutchcraft, and the rebound picked up by Carter McKenzie. McKenzie quickly in transition. His shot gets turned away by Hutchinson. Rebound picked up by Mitch Ogilvie. He goes away quickly, and Matisse will slow things down for Peterborough. Milligan. Off to Turner Evans. Back to Milligan. Now here's Tate Katoni. Drops that one off from Eli McLaughlin, knocked out of his stick, and away goes Jack Travassos with Ben McDonald. Travassos, he steps in and just misses the net. Picks up his own rebound. Ryan McCrory works that one off for Brady Kiernan. Lucas Littlejohn. Kiernan steps in, opens up. That shot gets stopped. Rebound for Kerrigan, and he can't put it home. Drew Hutchinson with the stop, and now Armstrong away in transition. Katoni going to the net, and Armstrong decides to keep it himself. Thomas Hogarth works it off to the wall for Josh Courier. Courier stepping into the middle, off to Holden Katoni. Finds the shooting lane. Hutchcraft the save, picked up by Mike Byrne on the rebound. Byrne walking in, off to Stevens, and he just missed the net and then got taken down in the crease by Robert Hope. As that one goes out of play, it's going to be Peterborough ball as there was no deflection. 2:07 to go in period number 2. Peterborough leads this one 9-8. Matisse for Tate Katoni. Katoni finds the shooting lane, and it got stopped by Riley Hutchcraft. Austin Hazen. Fresh shot clock for Peterborough as the Lakers work it around. Eli McLaughlin. Off to Turner Evans. Evans into the middle. Now gets the screen from McLaughlin. Pass cross floor for Hogarth. That one gets stopped by Hutchcraft. Another offensive rebound for Peterborough as they get a fresh shot clock. Peterborough's offense swarming. Brooklyn trying to get to the intermission, either tied up or just down by 1. Now a pass in front. Hogarth stopped by Hutchcraft, and the rebound picked up by Ben McDonald. Now he's away in transition with Ryan McCrory. McCrory can't get the pass into the corner. Goes over his head and knocked away by the long reach of Matt Gilray. Gilray down low for Hogarth, being watched by Jack Travassos. Hogarth pinned to the wall. Michael White. Cross floor pass for Holden Katoni. He's got 3 in this one. Shouldered away by Hutchcraft. Rebound pops off to the far corner. Jacob Saunders back on the floor after going down earlier in the period. Sorry, that was Keenan Cook, not Jacob Saunders. Now Chad Tutton stretches the floor for Mitch Ogilvie on the turnover, and that gets stopped by Riley Hutchcraft. Mitch Ogilvie had Tutton in front of the net. Less time on the game clock than the shot clock here for Peterborough. 10 seconds to go in period number 2. 8 seconds to go for the Lakers. Up 9-8. Can they take a 2-goal lead into the intermission? Holden Katoni, cross-floor passing. Courier, stopped by Hutchcraft. And that ends period number 2. Peterborough outscoring Brooklyn 8-4 in the middle frame, and they will take a 1-goal lead into the second intermission, trying to close out this series in 4 straight games, Andrew.
Well, Brooklyn hanging on here. They had a decent lead to start this period, and chip it away were the Lakers, and they did so, and they head into the third period in game number 4. Looking to finish this one off in the next 20 minutes, and they have that 1-goal lead, and will try to do so.
Peterborough's power play going 3 for 5 in that middle frame. Holden Katoni with the hat trick, and the Peterborough Lakers have a 9-8 lead through 40 minutes of play here at the Iroquois Park Sports Center. We have our second intermission coming up after the break. You're watching Major Series Playoff Lacrosse on Rogers TV. We're back inside the Iroquois Park Sports Center in Whitby. The Peterborough Lakers have a 9-8 lead through 40 minutes of play on the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club. A stark difference between period 1 and period number 2. We had lots of goals in that second period. Jack Moore, Andrew Osmond along with you. And Andrew, really just felt like the opposite the way that period number 1 went for Brooklyn, with Peterborough getting on the board early and often.
Yeah, that first period lead for 4-1 was kind of evaporated, it seemed, not right off because of scoring, but because of the play for the Peterborough Lakers. They really came out hot, came out strong, and held that through the entire period. Kind of what we've seen in this series and the season between these two teams, where Peterborough, works the power play, earns those power plays, gets those goals, capitalizes, and then just scores in bunches and scores quickly, which is what we saw in that second period.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the highlights from period number 2. It was Brooklyn scoring first to take a 5-1 lead, and then the onslaught came from the Peterborough Lakers with outscoring Brooklyn 8-3 the rest of the period.
Yeah, it started out with Tanner Cook getting the goal there, and he ended up with a hat trick in that period, but he scores one, and then Peterborough was able to score one, but then Matt Gilray scores. There's Kyle Waters getting one of the goals for Brooklyn. And then Holden Katoni kind of took over. He ended up with a hat trick as well in this one after a couple goals. You see him there with the pass down low and a good passing play. Holden Katoni starts it, and he gets it back and has that booming shot. And then we see a couple more goals here from Peterborough. They just poured it on. Part of 5 unanswered goals for Peterborough in that period after Kyle Waters' goal for Brooklyn. It was just all Peterborough for a big chunk of that period. That one there coming from Hogarth, who took a bit of a beating there, drew a couple of penalties. And then down the floor in transition, coming through there in the clutch, is Tate Katoni, and he's happy to get that one as he jumps in celebration into the end boards. And then it was Tanner Cook getting a goal, and that hat trick goal there from him, working that shot from far out. Then Kyle Waters, another shot from far out. So some of the bigger guys here for Brooklyn getting it done from far out, not in tight like we've seen this season, but nonetheless, that's where we stand. And we'll get one more goal here from Peterborough because they just scored in bunches in that period. That one, we've seen a goal like that before in game number 3. That quick, tight passing, and Eli McLaughlin, getting the benefit of that nice passing play from his teammates.
Yeah, he was phenomenal in game number 1 and game number 3, having 4 goals in each of those 2 games. He has a goal in game number 2 and a goal here tonight for the Peterborough Lakers. For the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club, the Kiernan brothers have combined for 8 assists in this one. Connor has 5, Brady has 3, Tanner Cook has 3 goals and 2 assists. They're getting offense from those big guys, but they're still down 9-8 against this unbelievable attack offensively of the Peterborough Lakers. And they're getting it done. Peterborough is not only offensively, but in the transition game as well.
Yeah, we saw it from Armstrong there in the transitional game, picking off that pass, running down the floor. He almost got one about 30 seconds later as well, picking off a Brooklyn pass in the offensive zone and running that down the floor for almost a chance on net. So, and we've seen that from Brooklyn's end too, the transitional game coming in, strong. We've seen a goal, Jacob Saunders, one goal that comes to mind there in that first period off a interception transitional play. So both teams work in the game. That second period was very quick on the transition. There's about 5 minutes or so where it's just back and forth, and You know, you mentioned the Kiernan brothers. I don't even know if they were on the floor during that time because it was all defensive players and transitional guys in that time. So they had a bit of a break and eventually got back on the floor. But if you're Peterborough, you're kind of happy to have those guys off the floor as much as you can and work that fast pace. So keep those bigger names off the floor for Brooklyn. And it's kind of worked in that period. They scored in bunches, scored a lot, 5 unanswered for a decent part of the stretch. Brooklyn unable to really get back-to-back goals. Ran into some penalty trouble as well. Some, unforced issues, a slash here and there, a holding call or two, to put your team down a man and on the disadvantage, and Peterborough capitalizing when they have that chance.
Yeah, 2 5-on-3s in that second period for the Peterborough Lakers. They scored 3 goals combined on those 2 5-on-3s. They were 3 for 5 on the power play in period number 2. But transition game is so important, especially in this building as opposed to the Peterborough Memorial Center, where Peterborough, it's the same change in both periods because their bench is a little bit more centered. Brooklyn still has a long change in period number 2, but not as long as they would have here at the Iroquois Park Sports Center. And then the difference in a cement surface as opposed to a carpet surface. And another update on the out-of-town game, the other semifinal going on in Major Series Lacrosse. 10-4, the Six Nations Chiefs leading the Coburg Kodiaks. That is game number 4. Six Nations has a 2-1 series lead in that one. So the Six Nations Chiefs trying to take a 3-1 series lead back home to the Iroquois Lacrosse Arena. Peterborough trying to close things out in this series tonight. They have a 9-8 lead through 40 minutes of play. Can they do it in period number 3? We'll find out after the break. You're watching Major Series Playoff Lacrosse on RogersTV. Hutchcraft getting ready for period number 3 here at the Iroquois Park Sports Center in Whitby as the Peterborough Lakers have a 9-8 lead over Hutchcraft's Brooklin Lacrosse Club as we're underway for the third and final frame of the game. And Peterborough taking possession early. They outscored Brooklyn 8-4 in period number 2 after Brooklyn had a 4-1 lead through 20 minutes of play. Jack Murray and Drew Osmond with you on RogersTV. Josh Courier pass inside for Hogarth, and Brooklyn takes that one away. Welcome in all those viewers on your TV Peterborough. Pete, Scott, and Dan do a great job covering the Peterborough Lakers all season long, and our great crew here at RogersTV Durham doing the same thing as Peterborough taking a penalty in the early going of period number 3. So Brooklyn's going to go to the power play. 7 seconds to shoot. Now Cook scores! 4th of the game, Tanner Cook ties us up at 9, just 50 seconds into the third.
The extra attacker just came on, but it was a bit irrelevant as working that delayed penalty were the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club on the floor, and it's Tanner Cook again from well out. Using that big body and getting the shot off. Not really challenged. You see him there at 77. Gets that pass, turns, and fires it down low under Hutchison to tie this one up once again at 9. Brooklyn not looking to go away. They know this is their period. Their season's on the line. These next 19 minutes, you got to score, and you got to keep Peterborough off the board.
Peterborough has scored 42 goals in the first 3 games of this series. Carter McKenzie away in transition. Connor Kiernan up top, 5 assists, like we mentioned, through 40 minutes of play. Brady Kiernan, he had 3 in the opening 40 minutes. Now it's Michael Grace off to Zach Kerrigan stepping in. That gets stopped by Hutchinson. So Connor Kiernan and Brady getting the assists on that Tanner Cook goal. So they have a combined 10 assists in this one for the Kiernan brothers. Not a bad night.
Not a bad night.
Cam Milligan. Off to Austin Hazen. Now quick passing and they score. Eli McLaughlin gets his second of the game, a beautiful one. And Peterborough takes that 1-goal lead right back.
The passing for this Lakers squad offensively is next level here for that hat-trick goal for McLaughlin. Yet again getting a hat-trick goal. What a feed there from Hazen. Down low. finding Eli McLaughlin, who not only gets that sweet pass, but makes a great shot. Realize Riley Hutchcraft is coming over and goes far side over the shoulder, top corner to get that one in to regain the lead. 10-9 now here for Peterborough.
Jack Travassos picking it up off the wall. Finds Liam Osborne. It's McDonnell and Travassos go out for a change. Tanner Cook gets the screen from Brady Kiernan. He's got 4 in this one. Underneath, that one gets stopped by Hutchinson. Keel Matisse. Back up the floor for Thomas Whitty. Whitty drops it out for Thomas Hogarth. Josh Courier works this one up top, looking for Holden Katoni. Finds him quickly inside for Tate Katoni. Now it's Hogarth. Couldn't find it in his cradle. Carter McKenzie blew a tire in the corner. Milligan battling for it. And this will be a shot clock violation against Peterborough and give Brooklyn back the ball. Lucas Littlejohn. Call up from Junior A has one in this contest. Brady Kiernan. Like we mentioned, 4 assists off to Connor Kiernan. Littlejohn, cross floor is Brady Kiernan. That shot gets stopped. Rebound pops out. Gilray battling Kiernan for it. Picked up by Peterborough, and Chad Tutton being watched by Lucas Littlejohn. Tutton driving into the net. Chad Tutton works this one off for Courier. Or sorry, that was Jordan Sturos standing in front of the Brooklyn net. Eli McLaughlin. I said he had 2. He has 3 in this one. Austin Hazen passing front, goes wide. 5 to shoot for Peterborough. McLaughlin down low, quick passing. Hogarth couldn't find it. Another shot clock violation against the Lakers. So some good defense in the last 2 possessions for Brooklyn.
Now they got to use that and turn that into some offensive chances here. Get the right guys on the floor. Kieran's playing a lot of minutes now. Same with Kyle Waters.
Liam Osborne shot gets through. Brooklyn ties it at 10. Liam Osborne gets his 2nd of the postseason.
The 6th goal scorer of the game here in 10 goals for Brooklyn, and it's Liam Osborne. You see him just cut through here, take the shot, used Mitch Ogilvie as a bit of a screen here on his own shot, and we'll see just between the legs, creeping, and it crosses the line there. Just across the line. Thomas Whitty couldn't keep it out in time, and we're tied up at 10.
You can feel the intensity picking up here at the Iroquois Park Sports Center. Both teams want it. Peterborough wants to end it. And a penalty coming up here. Too many men against Peterborough. So it is going to be the Lakers going down a man, and Brooklyn is going back to the power play. They didn't get that one earlier in the period because they scored to tie us at 9. Tanner Cook's 4th of the game, but now get that 4th opportunity on the man advantage. They're 1 for 3.
It looks like Austin Hazen's going to go serve these 2 minutes for too many men. And you even saw the goaltender Hutchison coming to the bench, I think maybe because he saw something and said, well, if I'm on the bench, then we're okay. But the officials caught on, and we'll get another power play. So far, 1 for 3 before this attempt for Brooklyn in the game.
Tanner Cook finds Osborne on the far side. Kyle Waters off to Cook. Kiernan to Waters. Cook back to Kiernan. In front, Osborne. Turned away by Hutchinson. Matt Gilray picks up the rebound and steps away from the Brooklyn attackers. Trying to kill some time off in this 10-10 game. 90 seconds to go in the power play for Brooklyn. Chad Tutton's pass for Tate Katoni goes awry, and Ryan McCrory picks up the loose ball. Jake Stevens in transition for Brooklyn. They'll get their power play reset. Kyle Waters and Tanner Cook, the Calgary Roughneck teammates. Right there with Connor Kiernan and Liam Osborne. Cook off to Kiernan, and that one goes wide. As Osborne gets it back up top, 5 seconds to shoot. Tanner Cook steps into one and misses the net. Loose ball, and Brooklyn can't get the second chance away, so it's Peterborough ball. Brooklyn should have one more possession on the power play if they can either force a turnover or get the defensive rebound on a Peterborough shot. Eli McLaughlin, been dangerous offensively in this series, steps in. That gets stopped by Hutchcraft, and it's Brooklyn ball.
We'll have 30 seconds here to bring it down the floor, about the same amount of time as their shot clock on the power play, to try to get the lead back once again. Connor
Kiernan, head coach for the Queens Gales lacrosse team. Queens Gales football team opens the season against Laurier this year. You know, my Golden Hawks will have something to say about Queens going to back-to-back Yates Cups. Tanner Cook, down low, quick passing, and Waters couldn't put it home as Hutchinson makes the save. Connor Kiernan to Kyle Waters. As we're back to 5-on-5, Brooklyn gets the ball back on the offensive rebound. I couldn't go a whole season of lacrosse without mentioning Laurier football.
Hey, well, I'm a Laurier guy too, so you and I both.
Go Hawks. Connor Kiernan. Kyle Waters' shot. That gets stopped by Hutchinson as Brady Kiernan got thrown into the crease. It's Peterborough ball as Mitch Ogilvie will get the restart, and they'll wipe up the crease with a wet spot. Some pushing and shoving at center with Eric Schul and Luke Pilcher.
So they're going to wipe up the floor here and use this time to grab some water from the goaltenders. Opposite ends of the benches this time around. So, and after a bit of a scrum there, both sides go to their benches and take Catoni, talking things over with the official there. As we see, Ryan McCrory, been a solid guy without the likes of a Jordy Jones-Smith on the floor. Using him a bit more for some transitional efforts as well. Holden Catoni, 3 goals so far in this one, and he's got that booming shot we know can squeak through from anywhere on the floor, really. Led his team in goals in the regular season with 34 and assists with 56, equaling 90 points. Holden Catoni in the regular season.
All 3 of those the best in Major Series Lacrosse this year. Of course, got his rights traded in in the National Lacrosse League to Philadelphia, so he'll play with his brother Tate in the NLL as well. Josh Courier steps in, and that one just missed the Brooklyn net. Tate Catoni picks up the rebound. Turner Evans' shot, that gets stopped by Hutchcraft, and the rebound picked up by Ryan McCrory. Sidesteps Turner Evans. McCrory off to Brady Kiernan as Brooklyn will slow things down and get a change. Lucas Littlejohn off to Jake Stevens. Brady Kiernan gets a screen in front from Connor. Brady Kiernan, cross floor, Littlejohn steps around the net. One-handed, just missed on the far side. Shot clock down to 2 seconds, so this will be a violation against Brooklyn and be Peterborough ball. Thomas Whitty. Out to Eli McLaughlin. Being checked by Michael White. White forces McLaughlin into the far corner. Jake Stevens steps in, gets knocked down, but the ball comes free and Stevens picks it up. Keenan Cook. Peterborough man down behind the play as a pass in front of the net goes wide. Michael White stays on the floor to check him as Mitch Ogilvie picks up the loose ball and plays it out to center for the captain, Robert Hope. Hope off to Catoni. Holden Catoni. Into the corner, Eli McLaughlin gets the screen. Now it's Hogarth. Being watched by Carter McKenzie. Holden Catoni's shot just misses the net. Carter McKenzie can't find it. Some more pushing and shoving going on as Grace and Tate Catoni going at it. Thomas Hogarth stepping in. Holden Catoni grabs a hold of Liam Osborne at the end of the play.
We'll see what penalties, if any, come out of that one. Holden Catoni looks ready. And I think he knows he's going to get something there. You can't just go out Liam Osborne and grab the face mask and pull him aside. So it looks like we might have 2 penalties here. We'll see what transpired here. It all starts on the right side of your screen. I'm going to think eventually there with the push down from Liam Osborne. Takes a bit of that slash. And then right there on the center of your screen, it's Mike Grace getting into it with Robert Hope. And Tate Katoni as well. And then you see just there, Holden Katoni comes in and pulls the face mask of
older brother Holden, stepping in to protect little brother Tate. And it looks like it will be 4-on-4. Or sorry, 5-on-5. So Brooklyn asking why there's 2 Katonis in the box and just one Michael Grace. But we'll have offsetting penalties, so we stay 5-on-5. But there were points in the regular season where we had the conversation. You don't want to take the penalty midway through or late in the 3rd period. It's going to cost your team a game, especially this one that you need to win if you're Brooklyn. Tanner Cook's shot gets stopped by Drew Hutchinson. Swallows up the rebound, so Peterborough gets the ball back.
Well, I mean, if you're Brooklyn, you get Holden Katoni off the floor, and that's valuable in itself.
It sounds like Michael Grace got 2 roughing minors, and each Katoni got one. As that shot missed the net, and away goes Brooklyn on the over and back. Jake Stevens chasing it down into Peterborough territory, and he'll pick up and get the restart in the far corner. Stevens holding against Tutton, gets the screen from Osborne. Now it's Zach Kerrigan getting the screen from Brady Kiernan. He scoops it up, working against Matisse. Now Connor Kiernan, 15 to shoot for Brooklyn. Up top, Zach Kerrigan. His shot just missed the net, and it bounces into the Peterborough bench. Unobstructed out of play as Connor Kiernan gave a whack at Colton Armstrong, as Armstrong bumped Kiernan, who was trying to run off to the Brooklyn bench. And it looks like Connor Kiernan will go the only penalty on the play.
And he's heading off to the bench, and he kind of knows it, but he's going to plead his case to say, I was just trying to change, and he wouldn't let me. So you'll see him here, Connor Kiernan, get bumped and lent into by Colton Armstrong.
And that wasn't accidental by Armstrong.
No, not at all. He knew what he was doing. Yep. And Kiernan took exception to that, and he knows he's not innocent with his retaliation, but he's saying, well, then both of us, is what Connor Kiernan's going to be saying in that case.
8th power play of the game for Peterborough. They're 3 for 7 so far. They went 3 for 5 in the 2nd period. They were 0 for 2 in the 1st. Milligan gets it back from McLaughlin. McLaughlin with the one-timer off the post into the protective meshing and out of play. Hutchcraft got a piece of that as well, so it's Peterborough ball. Courier up top, Milligan. McLaughlin, Milligan, Courier. He just missed the far side. As that one goes out of play, went out cleanly, so it's going to be Brooklyn ball. Pilcher. Fresh off the bench is Brooklyn trying to kill some time off in this 10-10 game midway through the 3rd period. Tanner Cook, Kyle Waters, Luke Pilcher out on the floor with Liam Osborne. And Osborne has it, being checked by Thomas Whitty. Whitty to Kyle Waters, and that just goes off the top of the cradle. He got knocked down to the floor by Chad Tutton, so it stays Brooklyn ball.
And Kyle Waters close to getting that ball, and he would have had a decent chance on net there, shorthanded, to get the lead here for Brooklyn. But they got the ball once again, so just as good for Brooklyn to get another fresh 30 on the offensive zone on the penalty kill.
Littlejohn with the pass in front for Cook, just out of his reach. Big spot to have your 19-year-old junior A call up in. Jason Crosby's showing some love to Lucas Littlejohn, who's been good in the games that he's played for Brooklyn so far this year. Eli McLaughlin as Milligan sets up on the power play. No Holden Katoni, so Milligan quarterbacking the power play. Milligan shot stopped by Hutchcraft. Rebound in behind the Brooklyn net and gets picked up by Brooklyn. Michael White just gets over center and trying to kill off the rest of this Peterborough power play. Liam Osborne gets the screen from White. Osborne running away from Milligan, holding on the boards. Now steps in. Hutchinson makes the save, but Osborne stepped into the crease, so it's Peterborough ball.
And Connor, a bit early leaving the box there off the penalty. He thought the play was probably going to continue in the clock roll.
So Connor Kiernan now back onto the floor. We're back to 5-on-5. Yeah, if that was just a regular save, he was just timing it up. But because the whistle went, Thomas Hogarth. Austin Hazen. Now up top, pass in front. Courier scores! With his back to the net, Josh Courier gives Peterborough an 11-10 lead with 8:03 to go in the third.
Josh Courier, as you said it, back towards the net, bounces this ball for the 11th goal of the game for Peterborough and gets them that 1-goal lead back once again. You'll see him cut to the net here, away from trouble. And yeah, just back to the net, backpedaling his way, and he just whacks that one off the floor and below the legs of Hutchcraft. And both goaltenders, Hutchcraft and Hutchison, are just having a drink of water right now, which is causing this delay, as you see on your screen. They're making their way back to their respective nets now. And 11-10 here for Peterborough. Brooklyn's got 8 minutes left here to extend their season.
Carter McKenzie finds the loose ball in his feet. Now has to get it over center floor in 5 seconds, and Littlejohn does. Lucas Littlejohn had it knocked out of his cradle by Chad Tutton. Alex Pace getting bumped by Littlejohn off the ball, but able to get it off to Milligan. Gilray to Thomas Hogarth. Josh Courier gave Peterborough the 11-10 lead. Tate Catoni winds, fires that shot, gets blocked by the helmet of Ryan McCrory.
He shook that one off physically, and everybody in the crowd heard that one.
Tate Catoni at the end of the shot clock sends it back into Brooklyn territory, so McCrory brings it back up the floor and plays it to Kyle Waters as he goes off. Kyle Waters gets the screen, steps in. Waters kicked out by Hutchinson. Rebound picked up by Brady Kiernan. Off to Waters. Corrals it in behind the Peterborough net and keeps it away from Robert Hope.
And Zach Harrigan getting some time here with the top dogs here for Brooklyn now towards the end of this game.
He just got tossed to the floor by Keel Matisse as Brady Kiernan steps in against Schul. Centering pass gets knocked loose, and Matisse picks up for Peterborough. Lakers get it over center floor, and Robert Hope leaves this one for Turner Evans. 6.5 to go in the third period. Josh Courier off to Austin Hazen. Hazen stepping into the middle, holding, working this one off. McLaughlin's shot gets stopped by Hutchcraft.
And a big one there from Riley, too. Don't want to go down 2 goals now with about 6 minutes to go here in the third.
Eli McLaughlin running gingerly back to the Peterborough bench. We'll keep an eye on that. We haven't seen Jacob Saunders for Brooklyn, who got injured in the second period, as McLaughlin went right to the Peterborough locker room. Tanner Cook's shot gets turned away by Hutchinson. Normally the away team here in Whitby is on the far side of the floor from where the cameras are on your TV. But because of the Ontario Lacrosse Festival, they're on the near side right behind the Peterborough bench. Now it's Lucas Littlejohn into the corner. 12 to shoot for Brooklyn. Kiernan works that one off as Pilcher missed the net. That one will start a transition for Thomas Whitty, who will just let the shot clock expire as Pilcher fires it to Coburn.
Exactly.
And Peterborough is going to take over with 5:24 to go in the third.
Speaking of Coburg, that game now 13-6 with just under 5 minutes to go. In their game number 4, Six Nations with a 2-1 series lead in that one. And they have the lead 13-6 now to go in that period, or in that game.
Orlman making 50-plus saves in game number 3 to steal the win from the Six Nations Chiefs. As Ryan McCrory back up the floor for Brooklyn, who blocked a shot and forced a turnover. Jake Stevens scores! We're tied at 11. Jake Stevens, second of the game.
And again, on the transition for Brooklyn, only about half the guys able to change within that amount of time, and it's Jake Stevens up the floor once again. A bit of a surprise shot. You'll see the ball move up the floor rather quickly here from Ryan McCrory. Gets it to Jake Stevens and just finds the empty twine behind Drew Hutchison to tie it up at 11s here in period number 3. He goes top corner and makes no mistake. We'll have an exciting finish here with 4:58 to go, tied at 11. Brooklyn season on the line.
Chad Tutton right off the draw, stepping in. That one missed the net. Lucas Littlejohn picks it up, sidesteps Armstrong. Littlejohn off to Brady Kiernan, one-on-one with Matisse. His shot gets stopped by Hutchinson and able to squeeze the legs and stop that one from going in. Mitch Ogilvie.
Brooklyn's pressing now. They're rushing up the floor, trying to cause turnovers. Do what they can to keep the ball in the offensive zone.
Holden Catoni over the top, stopped by Hutchcraft. McDonald stepped into his own crease, so it's Peterborough ball.
Tate Catoni doing a good job there, trying to get to that rebound and forcing the Brooklyn player to go over and back into his own crease.
Austin Hazen holding, shooting off the crossbar and heads out of play, so it stays Peterborough ball. Not missing the top corner by much was Austin Hazen. Tate Catoni off to Milligan. Milligan to Hazen. Tate Catoni gets the screen from Brother Holden. Now it's Hogarth to Tate Catoni behind the back, stopped by Hutchcraft, and Ryan McCrory starts the transition for Brooklyn.
Great stop by Hutchcraft there. Following that ball, Peterborough's so good at passing.
You can feel the energy picking up here in the late stages of the third in a tie game. Brooklyn has to win or their season's over. Zach Kerrigan spins away from defenders. Kerrigan stopped by Hutchinson. Robert Hope in transition for Peterborough. Turner Evans. Off to Holden Catoni. 3:20 to go in the third in an 11-11 game. Turner Evans. Off to Hogarth. Steps into one. That one gets blocked in front. Hutchcraft able to find the loose ball. They'll float this one off for Jake Stevens. And Stevens will bring it up as he is 2 in this one. Leaves it for Connor Kiernan. Stevens gets a change as Littlejohn onto the floor. 15 to shoot for Brooklyn. Pilcher misses the net. Osborne. Into the middle. Osborne missed the net. Brady Kiernan, 5 to shoot. Trying to find Littlejohn. That gets knocked away by Peterborough as Mitch Ogilvie and Lucas Littlejohn will just leave it in that far corner. Ogilvie and Littlejohn exchanging some pushes as we get back underway. Hazen brings it up the floor for Peterborough. Hazen driving in. Off to Hogarth. Out of his reach, Turner Evans. Peterborough only had 4 on the floor as Tate Catoni works it back to Courier. Courier into the corner. That one misses, and Michael Grace is away for Brooklyn. He has Tanner Cook off the bench, who gets covered quickly by the change for Peterborough. Kyle Waters to Connor Kiernan. Zach Kerrigan fresh off the bench. Kyle Waters steps away from defenders to the net, kicked out by Hutchinson, who ran into him as we'll get a whistle here. Connor Kiernan got knocked down. And they're gonna call for the floor to be wiped down, but it looks like Brooklyn will get possession back after Kyle Waters collided with Drew Hutchinson.
We'll see a look at that here. Kyle Waters looked like he was going towards the net and was kind of funneled into the goaltender from the defending player, and Robert Hope, I believe, steered him into Drew Hutchison there. And the officials by the bench here, because the players are talking a bit to each other, and getting close to the Brooklyn bench is Chad Tutton. There's Chad Tutton. I think trying to listen in on Gavin Prout's offensive call with the official right there. Jason Crosby trying to motivate his squad here that he knows minute 48 will decide the year for the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club. And either he doesn't want to watch because he's facing the other direction. I'm not sure. And he turns down to face the play. But nerves right now for Brooklyn.
100 seconds to go in the third, game 4. Brooklyn needs to win to continue their season. Over and back against Brooklyn, so Peterborough will get possession at the offensive end of the floor.
A very important possession here for Peterborough. If they want to go through, they got a shot here to do it.
Milligan, Hogarth, Courier, and the Catonis. Or sorry, Turner Evans instead of Tate Catoni. Evans to Holden Catoni. Back to Evans. Turner Evans shot. Stopped by Hutchcraft. Picks up the rebound. Looking for Jake Stevens in transition. He'll find him. Stevens. Slow things down here for Brooklyn. 1 minute to go in the third period. 11-11. Kyle Waters, Tanner Cook, Zach Kerrigan, Brady Kiernan now with it. Into the middle. Works it off to Connor Kiernan. Behind the back pass, Waters stopped by Hutchinson. Rebound bounces through the Peterborough crease and Hutchinson finds it. 11-second difference between game clock and shot clock. Peterborough with potentially their last possession of the game. If Brooklyn gets it back, you'd expect Crosby to take a timeout to try and get the final shot. Holden Catoni to his little brother Tate. 10 to shoot for Peterborough. Tate Catoni winds up, stopped by Hutchcraft. Rebound, Tate Catoni, and a timeout by Peterborough. They'll have the final possession.
And Tate Catoni took that shot, got the rebound. As soon as he did, he calls that timeout. He knows 15-14 here to get one goal, drop a play, and send your team into the MSL finals. We'll see the play here. Tate Catoni with the ball, has lots of room to move this in, takes the booming shot. He sees where the rebound is, gets to it first, and immediately gathers the ball and calls that timeout. And they will have a chance here to draw up a play. We saw it in the first period where they had a chance on a timeout to drop a play at the end of the period. Didn't work then. Can it work now when it means the most? But can Riley Hutchcraft and Brooklyn stand tall, get one more stop here, and force overtime to keep their season going?
Doesn't get much more important for this than for Brooklyn.
Comes down to one play for your year.
Peterborough scores. More than likely, they'll be going to the Major Series Lacrosse Championship Series. If Brooklyn gets a stop, we could be looking at overtime. No goaltender for Peterborough. 6-on-5, 15 seconds to go in the third period in an 11-11 game. Turner Evans up top. 7 seconds left, and away they go. Courier, Holden Catoni to Hazen, off the boards, knocked away by Brooklyn, and we're off to overtime. Peterborough doesn't get a shot away, and Brooklyn has a chance to stay alive if they can win it in overtime.
And for Brooklyn, unable to get a victory this season against the Peterborough Lakers, they force overtime in the game they need to win.
Peterborough has no timeouts heading into overtime. That's the conversation right now happening between the officials and the benches. Brooklyn has two as we take a look at the highlights from period number 3, Andrew.
Yeah, and it was a close game heading in, and a period coming out of period number 2 where Peterborough had 8-4 in favor of goals. this period. 3-2 in favor of Brooklyn has us at 11-11. And it was guys like Tanner Cook and Liam Osborne right there that we see getting a goal for Brooklyn to get it tied up. Brooklyn was chasing in that period to keep things tied up, and then Josh Courier gets this ball, backpedaling his way towards the net, stays out of the crease, tiptoes his way around, and gets the lead right back for the 11-10 lead over Brooklyn. And then it was Jake Stevens on the transition from Ryan McCrory right here to tie this one up at 11 goals apiece when they needed it most. Under 5 minutes to go, and that's where we are here, sitting at 11 with overtime to come. And Brooklyn has had a few overtime wins this season. They've been able to force overtime on a couple occasions and come out victorious in this barn.
If you've been a regular viewer of Brooklyn Lacrosse Club games on RogersTV Durham, you've heard us say that Brooklyn has only one win against Peterborough and Six Nations this year. It was an overtime win against Six Nations at the beginning of the season. And they're trying to get their first win of the year against Peterborough when they need it the most.
So will it be a goal for Peterborough to send them through to the MSL Finals, or a goal for Brooklyn to force Game 5 on Thursday in Peterborough?
Who's going to be the hero? Carter McKenzie picks it up, tried to work it back to Stevens, taken away by Tutton. Chad Tutton battling for it in front of the Brooklyn net, and Jake Stevens takes it away. Could tell Tutton wanted to end it there. Stevens to Connor Kiernan. Emotions running high here in overtime. Connor Kiernan to Brady Kiernan. Luke Pilcher gets the screen from Cook. Pilcher gets it back. His shot misses the net as he was knocked off kilter. Now Cook, quick passing. They need a shot at the end of the clock, and they won't get one. It's Peterborough ball. Gil Matisse up the floor for Peterborough. Playing in his first game of the playoffs here for the Lakers. There's Josh Courier. Finds Tate Katoni. Holden Katoni. Stepping in from the sideboards. Pass in front goes to Courier up top. 7 to shoot for Peterborough. Courier to the net. Stopped by Hutchcraft. Riley Hutchcraft quickly up the floor as Brady Kiernan fresh off the bench. Numbers in transition. Brady Kiernan misses the net, goes into the rafters, and it's Peterborough ball.
Quick play from Riley Hutchcraft to get that up the floor, knowing that Brady Kiernan was going to hop over the boards and grab that ball for that chance.
Tate Katoni, minute and a half into overtime. Hogarth off to Milligan. Wines fires. That one got blocked by the stick of Cook. Now Stevens picks up in the corner. He'll stretch the floor. Away goes Brooklyn. Byrne slowing things down as Connor Kiernan comes off the bench. Kiernan stepping away from Schewel. Kiernan up top to Tanner Cook. Steps into one. That got blocked in front. Rebound picked up by Brady Kiernan. 10 to shoot for Brooklyn. Brady Kiernan steps in. He shoots. Stopped by Hutchinson. Rebound pops out. Hutchinson knocks it down and traps it in the crease to give Peterborough back the ball. Thomas Whitty in transition for the Lakers. Hogarth off to Turner Evans. The Katonis off the bench for Peterborough. Courier's out there as well for the Lakers is Holden Katoni. Being watched by White, gets the screen. Tate Katoni, cross floor for Courier, steps in, just missed the net. He was looking for the near side. He had it, but missed. Jake Stevens back up the floor for Brooklyn. Connor Kiernan. Off to Tanner Cook. Luke Pilcher back to Connor Kiernan. Can Brooklyn extend their season here? Kiernan got grabbed by Ogilvy, no call. Kiernan in front of the net, behind the back, stopped by Hutchinson. Or that was a shot clock violation. He never got the shot on net, so it is Peterborough ball.
And Brooklyn,
Mitch Ogilvy got a good piece.
Yeah. And for Brooklyn, you got to let that one go. You can't get caught chirping at the ref at this time. You got to keep playing, play on.
Take Katoni to older brother Holden. Josh Courier. Hazen. Milligan. Steps in, off to the corner. Take Katoni, cross for Courier. His shot, stopped by Hutchcraft. Big save from the Brooklyn goaltender to keep the season alive.
Cool, calm, collected. Riley Hutchcraft keeping his team in it, making these stops when they need them. Nothing can go back behind him now.
Liam Osborne to Lucas Littlejohn, gets knocked to the floor by Chad Tutton. Thomas Whitty works it off for Sturris. Loose ball picked up by Littlejohn, knocked away by Schewel. And that's a backcourt violation against Peterborough. They didn't get it over center in 8 seconds, so it's Brooklyn ball.
And they've got the Kiernan brothers on now after a rest the last shift.
Liam Osborne gets the screen, finds Pilcher. Luke Pilcher over the top, stopped by Hutchinson, and the rebound picked up by Colton Armstrong. Armstrong with speed to the offensive end of the floor, waits for Turner Evans. Take Katoni, back to Turner Evans. Evans into the middle, cross floor. Hogarth just missed the net on the far side. That's over and back against Peterborough. It's Brooklyn ball. 5:32 to go in the overtime frame.
A lot of back and forth here. Zach Kerrigan on the floor. He's got an OT winner this year. So does Brady Kiernan.
Kyle Waters. Hutchinson the save. Rebound picked up by Robert Hope, and he starts the transition with Gilray. With Ogilvy. Gilray! Shot gets blocked by the stick of Carter McKenzie. Keo Matisse picks up the rebound. Ogilvy back to Matisse. 15 to shoot for Peterborough as Holden Katoni comes off the bench. Ben McDonald giving the check for Brooklyn. Now Hazen missed the net. Holden Katoni with 5 to shoot. Back to Hazen in front. His shot stopped by Hutchcraft, and the rebound knocked away by Brooklyn. Loose ball, and it gets picked up by McCrory. McDonald off to Osborne. Transition the other way for Brooklyn. Lucas Littlejohn off to Tanner Cook. Kyle Waters on the floor. Connor Kiernan out there as well. Tanner Cook into the middle. Cook shoots, stopped by Hutchinson, and the rebound trapped down in the crease. Tanner Cook was looking for his 5th of the game. Turner Evans. Off to Thomas Hogarth, back to Evans. Take Katoni. Katoni steps to the net. Off the crossbar, he stepped in the crease. It's Brooklyn ball.
And wonder if Crosby's going to call a timeout now for Brooklyn, and they'll use this time also to wipe the floor. The last couple possessional changes, I was waiting for Brooklyn to call a timeout, rest those guys a little bit, drop a play here because the next goal wins. And I actually don't know if he actually entered the crease on that replay. It looked like he stayed clean out of the crease. Nonetheless, that man right there, Riley Hutchcraft, Defensive Player of the Year in the MSL. Keeping his team in it, making a couple of big saves from in tight, far out, off the rebounds, controlling the rebounds, moving the ball up the floor to Brady Kiernan off the bench, trying to get the offense going. And here's another look at that big save from Hutchcraft. Right here in tight, down low, gets his leg across. And with the net right there between his legs, he stops it. And then Ryan McCrory picks up the loose ball and moves it up the floor. So we'll see what Gavin Prout has drawn up here for Brooklyn, as they just need one more. We got Liam Osborne, Connor Brady Kiernan, Kyle Waters, Tanner Cook on the floor here for Brooklyn. They got to start from their own end of the floor, and it'll be Kyle Waters to bring it up.
You dance with the ones who took you there. Brooklyn doing that with the big guns offensively. Kyle Waters has 2, Tanner Cook has 4. Great ball movement by the Kiernans in this one. Liam Osborne has 2 goals in the postseason so far for Brooklyn. Brady Kiernan shot, stopped by Hutchinson. It's loose in the crease, and he's able to trap it down.
Brooklyn getting their shots through, just not past the goaltender Hutchinson. Both goaltenders solid here in overtime.
Eric Schul leaves it for Turner Evans. Under 4 minutes to play here in the overtime frame. We're still tied at 11. Next goal wins. Holden Katoni. Down low. Hazen gets knocked off the ball by Carter McKenzie as his helmet comes off, and it's Brooklyn ball. White starts it up the floor as he got a big whack from Hazen, who's not happy with the call from the officials. Lucas Littlejohn. Off to Kyle Waters. Tanner Cook. Gets the screen from Pilcher. Cook to Waters. Steps in. Kyle Waters gets a stick up high. Doesn't get called. Ball comes loose, and Chad Tutton picks up for Peterborough. Now Whitty in transition for Peterborough. Drops it back for Tate Katoni. Katoni. Holding on the boards is Holden Katoni. Steps on. Tate Katoni. Works this one off to Courier. Cross floor. Katoni scores! Peterborough going to the Major Series Lacrosse Championship Series. Holden Katoni's 4th of the game. 2:30 to go in overtime, and the Peterborough Lakers will defend their 4 consecutive MSL championships.
And who else other than Holden Katoni for his 4th goal of the game? He led these Lakers through the entire MSL season, carries them in these playoffs, and makes it count here for the 12th goal and overtime win. Series clincher goal for the Peterborough Lakers. You see it right here, across the pass that the Lakers do oh so well, coming off of Josh Courier's pass. Holden Katoni gets it past Riley Hutchcraft, who was solid, absolutely solid in overtime. And at the end of that 3rd period, to bring Brooklyn to this overtime, just that 1 goal short, sends Brooklyn home and pushes Peterborough into the MSL finals.
Peterborough goes back to the Major Series Lacrosse final again. A clean sweep in round number 1. The Major Series Lacrosse semifinal against the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club. And they'll await the winner of the Six Nations Chiefs Coburg Kodiak Series. Brooklyn's season comes to an end. A 12-11 loss in overtime to the Peterborough Lakers. And the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club once again have their season come to an end in the postseason by these Peterborough Lakers.
And the storyline for Brooklyn all year was how young they were and how they didn't have quite the MSL and professional level of experience. Guys like Zach Kerrigan, Adam Perroni, Ryan McCrory, those kind of guys getting their looks in here in an overtime in Game 4 against the top team for the better part of a decade now in these Peterborough Lakers. Getting that experience can only translate to bigger things next year for this Brooklyn Lacrosse Club as they build on this experience and look towards next season.
That does it for us here at RogersTV Durham for this season of Major Series Lacrosse on RogersTV. We have a phenomenal crew that's worked so very hard to bring you Brooklyn Lacrosse Club home games all season long. We thank all of them. Our producer, John Green, Andrew Osmond, you've been a great partner.
You
Second
too, pal.
year in a row. It's been
awesome.
Fantastic. Great to join you. Jack Moore saying good night for the final time in 2023 from the Iroquois Park Sports Center.